It is a brisk October morning here in the upstate of South Carolina. Happy week 8 of college football. We're going to talk about all the big games. And let me tell you this is the time of the season where we find out who's for real. Enough with the off-season banner, the preseason predictions, all the way from Athlon to Phil Steele to ESPN and even the big noon show. I admitted last week, for some reason I want to say the big nude show. That definitely would be odd. But you can't hide anymore. You're either for real or you are not. Today we have some massive games going on. We have Georgia at Texas. We have Alabama at Tennessee and some really good games. Of course, our Tigers today playing against Virginia. We're going to dive into the games here in just a second. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. Hey, I talk about Clemson football, but I talk about other teams. And if you like that sort of thing, you like getting all riled up, talking some trash and all that bunch of stuff, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you will subscribe. I do appreciate you being in here. Hit the thumbs up. Drop me a comment and let me know you are here. I'm drinking my green cup of coffee this morning. Not that the coffee is actually green. You know what I mean. Of course, as Southern folk, we don't say coffee. Coffee? That's what we say. Let's talk about some of the games that's going on. I'm going to start with Clemson. I gave my prediction earlier this week. By the way, my video on Cade Klubnik costing us Blake Hebert. I'm just going to laugh about it. Yeah. A lot of people are watching that video right now. That was a fun one to make. Let's talk about Clemson. Let's talk about Clemson, Virginia. I gave my prediction that Clemson, I believe they win this game somewhere to the tune of 42-10, 42-13, maybe even get high 40s, mid to high 40s. And right now the game opened up as Clemson a 22.5-point favorite. And look, at this point, Clemson's a 20-point favorite, basically no difference. Cade Klubnik comes into this game, and I talked about this yesterday. The guy has not even hit the halfway mark of half of his attempts from last year. You're like, Brian, what do you mean? So last year, he had, let me see, it was like this right off the top of my head, 454 attempts overall, right? So the halfway mark of passing attempts would be 227 passing attempts. That's the halfway mark. We're playing game number 7 today, right? We're playing game number 7. He's only passed the ball 184 times. And his numbers are fantastic, especially compared to last year. He's thrown for 1,528 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, y'all know me. You watch a show, you know me. You know that I'm not just going to sit here and act like Clemson has been playing just stellar talent. Clemson has to get the monkey off their back with that whole Georgia deal. Okay, I've talked about that. Even had one of you said, Brian, it's time to move on. The only way you move on is by beating a team like that and proving it. I mean, great example, Tennessee this past weekend. Tennessee, I don't care how bad Florida is. This Florida team's not good. And it took Tennessee going to overtime. Well, Brian, that's the power of a rivalry. No, that's the power of getting something in your head. You could trot out Presbyterian College in Florida uniforms at Tennessee, and it'd take Tennessee overtime to beat them. But you could turn around. You could take Florida, trot them out in Presbyterian College or University or whatever they're calling themselves these days. That same Florida team that it took them overtime to beat, you can put them in Presbyterian jerseys, trot them on up there to Tennessee. Tennessee would beat them by 700 points. It's a mind game. So I guess where I'm going with that is you have to get past that thing. You have to get past the idea that you now can't beat a really good football team. You beat the trash out of NC State, Stanford, FSU, Appalachian State. By the way, FSU losing last night. We'll talk about that in just a second. But let's look at I am looking at the good things. Cade Klubnik has 17 touchdowns so far. He had 19 last year and 9 interceptions. He's only thrown 2 interceptions this year. And I'm excited to see where this goes because at this trajectory, the guy should reach at least 2,500 yards. At least 2,500 yards. You could argue that the run rate says 3,000 yards because in 6 games he's passed for, 1,528 yards, and you would be correct. I'm not going to push that because I'll leave that there. He may reach 3,000 yards passing, but really the key today for Clemson is just continue to get better at every level, including the sidelines. And that's a big deal. That is a really, really big deal. And as I'm looking this up, and I should have done this before the video. I really think that Clemson has to just focus on doing what they can do to get better no matter what. You just have to get better no matter what. So I'm hoping to see that. Let's move on to a couple other games. Obviously, I think Clemson wins this game. Get in here and say hello to a few people. Dogs rolling loud. Good to see you, my friend. Kaysen and Chloe Vids. It's good to see you. I know you. I know where you sleep. It's my niece and nephew. Joe Hughes, good to see you. 35-17. Oh yeah, be live. No, are you down there at Folly Beach right now? And I just want to go ahead and say, if you're at Folly Beach right now, and I believe you are, I think that's where you shared that you were at with me. I hate you with it, with good Christian hate. You know what I mean? The OHIO podcast, Eric Boggs is in here. Ohio State will not lose today. Are y'all on a bye? Is that the reason that you're saying that? And I don't mean that bad. I haven't looked at your schedule. It's good to see you, Eric. Also, I'm part of the College Huddle. The College Huddle, just a group of podcasters, YouTubers who represents their schools. So check it out, the College Huddle. They asked me to represent Clemson. I think that was a terrible idea by them. But no. Thank you so much to Eric and his team for including me there. Yes, they are on by, and Noah is laughing. Is the coffee doing some justice this morning? Kind of. I need to go get some more coffee, but I'm not going to leave here. Yeah, but it's doing all right. On the way to the Folly Laundromat. That sounds fun. I would love to go to the Folly Laundromat, Noah. Dadgummit. All right, let's get back to football. It's good to see y'all. I hope everybody's subscribed, all that good garb. All right, let's talk about some of the games that's going on today. Real quick, we saw Florida State lose last night to Duke. They turned over the ball 3 times in a row. I mean, Florida State is just like it's to the point. I'm not a Florida State fan whatsoever. And I remember the years where they beat us like redheaded stepchildren. So, there's a part of me that's sitting here going, man, this is really bad. And then there's a part of me that remembers them just desecrating Clemson. And I'm like, okay. You know how it is. But it is bad, y'all. Like, you can talk about NIL, you can talk about Norvell, you can talk about coaching, y'all, it's like bad. It's bad football. It is really bad football, and it is eyebrow-raising how bad it really is there. So, yeah, Florida State lost another game last night, and they're, 1-6? They lost to Duke. Duke, of course, acted like they won the national championship. They've lost one ball game, but Duke is... I just don't buy Duke. I just really don't. Are they better than what they normally are? Yeah, sure. But who have they played? But they won. Okay. Talking about the ACC, 12 o'clock today. Number 6 Miami, 6-0, 2-0 in the ACC. Travels to Louisville. They play Louisville, says Sean McDonough, along with Dabo. It's Dabo, man. You're an educated man. It's Dabo. Say it like a bunch of rednecks. Let me tell you this. Okay, all right, folks, I have not done this in a while. I get on my rants here. But I really think it's time for the airing of the grievances.
With the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yes, Frank Costanza, I have a problem with you people. Yeah, let's talk about the Southern accent. All right, there's all different types of Southern accents. If you ever listen to the late, great Tim Wilson, he does a fantastic Southern impression and all the different Southern accents and so on. But let's be honest with ourselves. If you're a Southerner and you're somebody like me, you have an accent. You know it. I know it. All God's children knows it. But we're one of the only accents in the entire flipping world that it's okay to make fun of. Listen, if you make fun of some accents, they'll even say that you're discriminative, and I'm going to leave it there. But if you even turn around and you see some other or hear some other accents, all of a sudden you hear people go, and they're mispronouncing words left and right. All of a sudden people are like, oh, isn't that a beautiful dialect? Did you hear that, Raphael? That's a beautiful how do you feel about that, Donna? It's a beautiful dialect until one of us speaks and you're sitting there going, hey, you put an ER at the end of that, or you messed up your grammar. But of course they don't sound like that because, well, they would be a hypocrite. Isn't it funny to you and I, especially if you're a Southerner, that the Southern accent is one of the only accents that ever gets criticized, while everything else, while it sounds like they're hiccuping, throwing up, or whatever, it's a beautiful, beautiful accent. Well, look, here's the deal. I know when I misspeak. Heck, I go back and listen to my videos and I'm like, did I just say that way? Oh, that was poor grammar here and there. But you know what? I didn't know we were all in school here. I didn't know you were gathering here like you're watching some video on Coursera or Pearson Education. No. No, we're all hanging out here. Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee. You're probably drinking whatever. We're all chill. This is a chill place. But I'm telling you, the whole thing about the accent, the whole thing about uneducated people, it is driving me nuts. Southern people are the only people that gets ridiculed for our accent, while everybody else is hiccuping, burping, farting out their mouth, and others are saying, "Wow, what a beautiful dialect of that foreign whatever, or that part of the United States." Yeah, I get sick of it. It's annoying. You know it's trash. You know it's bull. And that's the end of the airing of the grievances. Back to you, Frank.
With the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
All right. Hopefully everybody laughed at that and didn't take it offensive, as most people do. Most people just get offended at everything now. It's like, dadgum. No wonder alcoholism is on the rise. All right, Miami at Louisville. Ooh. Miami's a 5.5-point favorite going into this game. You tell me the number 6 team in the country goes into a team that is 4-2, 2-1, and they're only a 5.5-point favorite. Now, let's talk about Louisville's losses. They had 2 losses in a row. They were close. They were by a touchdown at each. They lost at Notre Dame 31-24. And they lost to SMU 34-27. So the key is, if you can score 30 points on Louisville, you're probably going to win the game. And that's just me looking at who beat them. So the magic number against Louisville is 30 points. That's it. The over-under is 60.5 points. We know everybody's going to be talking about Cam Moore. The guy has really, really good numbers: 2,219 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And Xavier Restrepo is a very talented wide receiver at Miami. He gets overlooked. And with all the things that's went on at Miami, people who's transferred in, people who's transferred out, it's new signees, blah, 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 Xavier Restrepo has... He's got lost in the commotion, but the guy has 32 receptions for 585 and 5 touchdowns. I'm going to move a little faster on this. I spent a little more time on this because it deals with the ACC and who, if Clemson runs the table, and they should for the rest of the season, most likely they would play Miami. Even if SMU doesn't lose, how the system is set up, Miami and Clemson would face off at this point for the conference championship. This is a game Miami better watch out about. They better watch out for this game. But the thing is, I think Miami can definitely put up 30 points. I think Miami gets the win today. I would not be shocked if Louisville beat them. It would actually help us Clemson fans because we'd have to stop hearing about. I think that Miami is improved, and obviously having Cam Ward and guys like Restrepo and Damian Martinez and Ruben Bain, that's great. That's wonderful. But Miami's always had talent. I've talked about that a lot. Miami's always had talent. They haven't always had coaching, and that's the problem. Once again, coaching matters. I say that all the flipping time. Miami at Louisville, I'm calling Miami to win that game. Remember, it kicks off 12 o'clock, ABC. Of course, Clemson kicks off 12 o'clock on the ACC network, also known as the CW, also known as, in certain parts of the night, it actually turns into QVC. It's very nice. 12 o'clock, Nebraska and Indiana get together. Nebraska is 5-1. Matt Rule is bringing those guys back to slowly bringing them back to prominence. I said this a few years ago. I said, look, give this guy a chance, and he is going to make things better because Matt Rule can coach. He's a really good college coach. And I always like to throw this out there. When someone says, well, he didn't do good with the Panthers, they're the Carolina Panthers, y'all. They're terrible. They've been terrible for a very, 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 very long time. I'm going to leave that there. Eric, you said it. I just showed it. That's it. That's all I did. That's all I did. That's all I did. Oh, my God. Colin Carson, you making it up to any games this year? Probably not. Unless something changes, I'm probably not going to make it. I was hoping to go to this game, and I'm not going to make it. And then today, the Virginia game. And then I was wanting to go. I was about to buy the Stanford tickets. And then some things happened. This annoying woman named Helene came through the upstate in Western North Carolina. Let's see. If you have a 6-0 Indy on your bingo ticket, you need to go buy a lottery ticket. Oh, I got you. I like the game. User in an outhouse outside of Little John Coliseum. No toilet paper. It's time to pull those socks off, baby. Time to pull those socks off. If you have a utility knife and you got maybe you're wearing a Peter Millar, pull over. You paid $200 for that thing. You might be pushed. Shave off that wipe your anyway. Good to see you. How many people watches me while they're in the restroom? You're the second person user this week that's told me, hey, I'm outside of Little John Coliseum watching you in a porta potty. That's weird and good all at the same time. Let's get back to football. Oh, Lord. My parents had higher hopes for me than this. Nebraska and Indiana. Indiana's a 6.5-point favorite. This game is in Bloomington. You can watch this 12 o'clock on Fox. I remember watching this guy last year, Curtis Rourke. Curtis Rourke is the quarterback for Indiana. He transferred out of Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio Bobcats. And the guy had unbelievable numbers there. And they brought him in. This guy has thrown for 1,752 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. Indiana has not played the meat and potatoes of college football, nor have they played the meat and potatoes, strong teams, that's what I mean by that, of the Big Ten. Now, at the end of the season, things are going to get more interesting for them. Right now, they're playing Nebraska. That's a tough game, all right? Then they play Washington, have Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, at Ohio State, by the way, and Purdue. I mean, notice they're not playing Penn State. They're not playing Oregon. Southern Cal can be a problem. They're not playing Southern Cal. There's a great chance that this Indiana team goes like 9-3. 9-3. There's a really good chance that this team goes 9-3. And I, have them losing Michigan and Ohio State and either Nebraska or maybe one of those other games. There's a good chance that these guys do that. I mean, Signetti would be erect a statue to the dude. I mean, that's nuts. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on one second. Somebody just said what? Helene was the next worst thing to my last girlfriend who said during the 18 national championship game, I'm not watching sports. Hope you broke up with her. I think last was, I hope you did. $200 wool socks. Yeah, that would hurt. Brian, give him a sold. You can do it. Might help him finish strong with that little outhouse. Hey, listen, put your mind to it. Don't strain too hard, else there'll be blood in your feces. I'll leave that alone there. I just lost my family-friendly deal. Thoughts on South Carolina, Oklahoma? I'll talk about that in just a little bit, Colin. That's a good question. Kason and Chloe, y'all are 49-3. Hey, hope so. Hope so. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to the games. I've got off track here. It's my fault. I see Nebraska winning this game. I think they can. I think that this would be a good win for them. They would go 6-1. Indiana would go 6-1. Could I be wrong? Maybe. Of course, I could be wrong. Pardon me. A game is kind of flying under the radar. Auburn and Missouri. Mizzou's only a 4-point favorite. This game is in Columbia, Missouri. I think Missouri takes care of business. It's interesting how bad Auburn looks. It's just, man, it's disgusting. 12 o'clock today, ESPN2. The game's going to be at Army and Navy. And I didn't get to do my AP Top 25 last week. I was too flipping busy. I was cutting up a tree in the front yard and all that much stuff from Helene. Thank you very much. Still got to take that tree down as a whole. But Army and Navy's ranked in the top 25 together for the first time since what? When the Beatles were still speaking to one another? I don't know. East Carolina at Army. Army's a 17-point favorite. And I think they roll again. They're 6-0, 5-0 in American Conference. I mean, they shouldn't at all. They should not at all allow East Carolina to be even in this game. Interesting stat for you. The quarterback, Jake Garcia for East Carolina. This guy, and I'm not making fun of him. I'm not, but his numbers for this year, he's thrown 8 touchdowns. He's thrown 12 interceptions. 12 interceptions. And I don't know how much of that is his fault, his receiver's fault, or all of the above. Next up, Alabama and Tennessee, 3:30 ABC. Normally this would be the CBS game. We'd have to hear Gary Danielson talk about Tim Tebow. I really like Brad Nessler, hearing him talk, announce games. I always liked hearing him and Todd Rutledge together. That was always a fun time. And of course, Vern, when he was there, I know he retired a few years ago. You could definitely hear them in this game. Alabama, last time they went to Tennessee, we know what happened. They was tearing on goalposts. You had 14-year-old girls smoking cigars. Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. But the point is, this is a different game for both of these for both of these teams. That Tennessee team was much better than this Tennessee team. And I have no ill will towards Tennessee. I've talked about that ad nauseum. So if you're like, you're talking trash about my Vols. No, I'm not. But there's something that's happened to Tennessee over the past 2 weeks. Something has happened to them boys. And everybody talks about Nico being a freshman. He is a redshirt freshman. And I believe the guy has a lot of talent. I believe he has a lot of upside, and they've put a lot of money into it. He has a lot of weapons around him. Squirrel White, Brew McCoy, Deontay Thornton, actually. There's an N in between the R and the T. Anyway. You have Dylan Sampson, the running back. And then you look at Alabama. They're without Nick Saban. That is still very, very weird. Jalen Milroe, there's a lot of questions about him. The guy's 1,483 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, you can say that Jalen Milroe is the guy that got them to the playoffs, and in the same breath, you can say Jalen Milroe is the guy who lost to Vanderbilt, right? So, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's crazy. Get back in the comment section, say hello to some people real quick before I keep going. Let's see. I believe Clemson is a really good football team, maybe not elite yet. The only way to prove that, though, is they have to beat these teams that are at the elite level. Thank you, Silver Fox. Like, I had a commenter this week tell me, it said, Brian, listen, it's time to move on from the Georgia game. Folks, here's my great, and I understand what they're saying. It's time to, really what people are saying, it's time to stop talking about it. It happened, but it's over and we've been winning. That's right. Until you play another really good team. And then you find out that it's time to move on. The only thing that moved on was time. You didn't get any better. Or at least not good enough to truly compete and be seen as elite. So Silver Fox, that when I talk about the Georgia game, folks, I bring that up purposely to recalibrate us and go, whoa, hold on. I know that we've been steamrolling everyone. And we are getting better. I believe we are getting better, especially offensive line. Matt Luke is the man. That's why you hire people like him. You should have a whole coaching staff of Matt Lukes, and Clemson can do it, by the way. You saw his reaction when he was contacted to come to Clemson. It wasn't like, I ain't doing it. Nope. He lit up like a 3-year-old on Christmas morning. Clemson's entire coaching staff could be a bunch of geniuses. I mean, really. And the team would be performing at a truly elite level. That's a different conversation. I've done that video several times. I'm not going there right now. Or I went there. I'm not going to stay there. But you're right, Silver Fox. The only way that you get past this persona that Clemson has earned, by the way, is to beat an elite team. And so the thing is, it's time to move on from that Georgia loss. Well, the best way to move on from it is by beating an elite team, because time may pass and you may beat a bunch of bad teams, but have you moved on as a team? Have you truly improved? And that's the only way you do it. Great point. I left about 15 minutes later. She clicked over to Reba. Yeah, they're in the national championship. No. Devin Denton. Hey, Brian, first time commenting, but watch you all the time with Noah here in beautiful Folly Beach. Currently transforming our guest house back to man cave to watch this game. Awesome. Well, thank you for commenting. I really appreciate that. Folly Beach is beautiful. Tell you this, my wife and I got married off of 8th Street. 2012. We had a friend told us, said, hey, listen, y'all want to do the beach wedding thing? We're like, sure. They said, go to Folly, and they had done this. So we went to Folly, and you know how it dead ends right there with the hotel? And you can turn left or right. Turn right, went down to 8th Street, parked in that 8th Street area. And we went down the week before. We had scouted the area. We walked on the beach, turned to the right, walked down a little bit, away from that main beach area. And at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning in May 5th, in fact, we got married on Cinco de Mayo. We got married out there, and it was a great time. And on our 10th anniversary, which is a few years ago, we went out there with beach chairs, just she and I, and we sat out there and watched sunset. It was a great time. We love Folly Beach. In fact, we went there twice this year. Just kind of some one-off trips. So we'll love that area. It's a beautiful area. So I'm glad you're watching. Taco Bell and apple juice doesn't mix. That's a blessing. Clemson wins by 3 today. User, are you drunk? Helene canceled football for me 3 weeks. I just got TV back. Oh, God, that's awful. That is absolutely awful. That is awful. There's so many people in here. There's so many people in here. Chase Stacks, I believe Clemson is a solid top 10, not yet ready for the top 4. Close, but not yet. I like that, Chase Stacks. Until you get punched in the mouth again by another elite team. Yeah, that's my main concern, my friend. All right, folks, listen. I'm going to get back to football. You know me, and I get in here rambling. Tell you what I need to do. I need to go get more coffee. All right? I need to get more coffee. So I am going to ask y'all for something. I'm going to ask y'all for something. Would y'all be willing to give old country boy like myself a pass for me to leave the screen for just a second to go get some coffee? Okay, even if you said no, I'm going to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a nice little banner here for just a second. All right? It's going to be precious. This is going to be wonderful right here, okay? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to mute the mic, so if I break wind on my way out, you'll never know. So here we go. I'll be right back with fresh coffee. And we're back. Glad you're all here. Got some more coffee. Had to run downstairs. I go downstairs. Let me tell you this. I went downstairs. Went downstairs, and my son was watching videos of himself practicing football in the backyard. Folks, I almost started weeping. You raise them right. That's all you can do. Let's get back to football. Alabama and Tennessee. I think Alabama wins this game. They're a 3-point favorite, which is basically a toss-up. Both of these teams, and I previewed this game this week and had very few views on it. I'm shocked. I'm not too far from Tennessee. I'm within 3 hours of Tennessee. I'm talking about Knoxville, that is. I had more views on the Texas-Georgia game, but I'll leave that alone. Both of these teams, I said this in this video, both of these teams, for some reason, are, instead of that whole thought process of who wants it more, who wants to win more, it's almost like both of these teams, you could say, who wants to lose less? Does that make sense? It's just like, what? What did it? Oh, that doesn't sound like SEC football. Something's going on with both of these teams. And I have Tennessee fans right now who are telling me behind closed doors, away from everybody, going, we're questioning Heupel now. Not because he lost, but the lack of intensity. It's the lack of intensity, almost losing to Florida. Florida is terrible. I know the whole thing about rivalry and all that bunch of stuff, but I'm telling you, Florida's that bad. So anyway, I'm seeing Bama win this game. I think it's a toss-up. Either team could win this game. I would be a little more shocked if Tennessee won it, even though it's home. Though they're home. They're both 5-1, both 2-1 in the SEC. But I've seen several statistics that says whoever wins this game stands a great chance of getting to the college football playoff, and whoever loses it, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that they only have like a 20 to 25% chance of making the college football playoff. This is a massive game today for college football as a whole. It's a massive game for the SEC, and it's a really big game for both of these teams because I don't know. Something's going on there, and they both seeing these two teams play right now with the way they've been playing or the lack thereof is just getting weird. Let's see. Got a couple of people in here. I'll say hello. Flux Flow, don't worry, we will. Let's see. Clemson wins 63-10. Joseph Gregory, good to see you, my friend, in here. Let's see. Noah. We are 12 block east. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I believe Clemson is still peaking. Don't want to peak too early. Hey, that's good. I would love to watch the game from my suite at the stadium. I'm the one there that shows up in their pajamas. Shows up in the pajamas, just throw a hat on. Yeah, that would be me. He's back. Yep. Dabo doesn't drink coffee. He drinks hot chocolate. Doesn't drink beer. It's a pretty good thing. Let's go, Tigers. Patriots talk. Good to see you. What kind of coffee is your standard? Oh, man. I try to drink coffee that is not like dark roast. I like a good like mid roast. And just add half and half. I say cream, and someone corrected me recently. You would have thought that I'd called their baby ugly. That's half and half. It's not cream. This is my fist. I'm going to leave that there. The Lord doesn't want me to finish that statement. All right, let's keep talking college football. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. This is going to be in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia Tech is without their quarterback, Haynes King. Guy has thrown 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Guy's a good football player. But you got to look at Georgia. Georgia Tech is 5-2. And Key has done a pretty good job, y'all. He really has. Considering where they were at just over the past few years. And then switching from that whole Bobby Johnson style of football. I know Jeff Collins was in between there, but I mean, this is a big deal. Notre Dame comes in 5-1. So this is, the only loss is Northern Illinois. This is a great way for them to show that they are truly a playoff team. They're a 14-point favorite. That's 3:30 today on ESPN. Michigan and Illinois, this is a top 25 matchup, 3:30 on CBS. Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite. Let's see. Michigan's 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. Illinois is 5-1, 2-1 in the Big Ten. This is just an interesting game. Altmaier's been doing a great job, 1,426 yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think Michigan wins this game. I do think they win this game. This would be a great way for Illinois to break out of that. We can't beat a team like Michigan. So that would be interesting. Charlotte plays at number 25, Navy. Navy is a 16-point favorite. They're number 25. As I said, they're 5-0, 3-0 in the American Conference. Charlotte's 3-3. They're 2-0 in the American Conference. I see maybe Navy winning this game. I always like to see Navy, Army, Air Force do well. I know everybody says that. What was it? Last year before last, when Air Force was doing really well. That was a lot of fun. 4:15 today, SEC Network. Texas A&M plays at Mississippi State. Texas A&M is a 19.5-point favorite. They're 5-1, 3-0 in the SEC. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They lost their very first game to Notre Dame. This will be a good game for Mike Elko and the guys. I think they definitely win the game. Now, Mississippi State put up a really, really good fight against Georgia last week. And not to, stir the pot, but to stir the pot. Mississippi State lost 41-31. Clemson lost 34-3. and Mississippi State's 1-5. I mean, that's terrible. Their losses includes 35-13 loss to Texas, 45-28 loss to Florida, 41-17 loss to Toledo, and a 30-23 loss to Arizona State. So when they lose, for the most part, they lose big, 17 points plus. But they kept it close with Georgia in Athens. That was in Athens. That was not on a neutral site. That was not in Starkville. So anyway, I expect them to get throttled again today. Have LSU playing at Arkansas. We've seen this game go into crazy overtimes. We've seen crazy scores over the past few years. 7 o'clock ESPN. It's in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Arkansas is, how many more times can I say Arkansas? Arkansas. Tim the Toolman Taylor. LSU's 5-1, 2-0 in the SEC. Of course, they had that loss at the very beginning of the season. Kind of like Texas A&M. They lost their very first game. Now they're just barreling on down their schedule. Arkansas's 4-2, and they have talent. Bobby Petrino's doing a good job running the offense up there. Bold move bringing him back, but Petrino can coach football. LSU's a 2.5-point favorite. I see them winning this game. The big game of the day, number 5, Georgia at number 1, Texas, 7:30 ABC. Texas is a 5-point favorite. I'm calling Texas to win this ball game. Something odd is kind of going on with Georgia. I don't know if they're not getting up for the games like Mississippi State. You can't blame them. That's a boring game. Carson Beck is 1,818 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Quinn Ewers will play today. He will be the starting quarterback unless something has happened that I don't know about. I think Texas wins this ball game. And I think it's going to be a really good game, but I really think that Texas is showing, hey, we are truly back. We're not like Sam Ehlinger a few years ago, which, by the way, was against Georgia in the 2019 Sugar Bowl, where we're back. And it's like, no, you're not, because, well, your coach won't even be your coach in like a year or two because y'all are not back. They fired Tom Herman. But that's the big game of the day. UCF playing at number 9 Iowa State. Matt Campbell started to fall off into the abyss of college football about 3 years ago. He was like the new guy that everybody was like paying attention to. Oh, this guy, he's the man. And then they haven't done well over the past few years. This year, 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12. Number 9 Iowa State. They're a 13-point favorite. They should win this ball game. Watch this be the game that they lose. Watch it, just for me saying that. Closing out the top 25, Kansas State at West Virginia. They're 5-1. K-State should win this game. And another game that you could see West Virginia just getting up for and winning. Last but not least, SMU at Stanford. SMU is the closest school, ACC school, to Stanford. They're in Texas. Stanford's in the Bay Area. SMU is a 16.5-point favorite. I believe they cover. And they win this ball game against Stanford. Let's talk about some games from last night. Oregon beat Purdue 35-0. Really didn't let them even believe for a moment they could come back. Number 13 BYU played Oklahoma State. And this Oklahoma State is not like the Oklahoma States that we've seen in the past. In fact, they're on a 4-game skid, including last night's loss. Coming into last night's game, they were on a 3-game skid. The best win that Oklahoma State has, they did beat Arkansas in week 2. 39-31. But they've lost 3 weeks in a row, including a blowout loss 4 weeks counting last night. They got blown out by Kansas State 42-20. They got blown out by West Virginia 38-14. Last night they barely lost to BYU. BYU is making the Big 12 look good at this point. So Let's talk about today's game. I may do a pregame. I don't know if I'm going to do a pregame today. But the moral of this week's story, and it's week 8, you can't hide. You cannot hide anymore. You can't hide. And that's the moral of this story. And I want to throw some things into perspective for you. 2 months from right now, the playoff begins. 2 months and 1 day, the playoff begins. I believe it's December the 20th, if I'm remembering correctly. So you need to understand. You need to understand that these big games, are starting to unveil who is for real. And if Georgia loses today, they get loss number 2. They're still in the playoff, right? As to where it's kind of odd that whoever loses that Tennessee-Alabama game is probably out of the playoff. Yeah, they could still make it, but I'm just saying they're probably out of the playoff. And as you have more and more teams like LSU just silently winning ball games, do they make it in over in Alabama if Alabama loses today? That's interesting. And then you have teams like Oregon who's just winning. That's it. It's like they're not even going to leave this up for debate. We're just going to win. We're going to win and win and win and win. There's going to be no question about it. So anyway, my favorite part of this season is you can't hide anymore. You can't hide behind NIL. You can't hide behind all the media hype. Today it is player versus player, team versus team. And it doesn't matter what I think or any of you think or anybody who's a talking head in major media. Today, your team can't hide from whoever they're lining up against. You're either as good as advertised or you were just part of a hype machine. And that's what I really like about this part of the season. We are getting down to brass tacks, and there's no more speculation. There's no more, well, when we play, no, you played them and you lost. Or you played them and you beat them. Or you played them and you got lucky to win. You look like trash, and everybody's going to say, well, you know what? It's better. You're better lucky than, and then you go and you have that same mentality and you play a team that's actually really good and you get the logo ripped out. Ripped off of your jersey, ripped off of your helmet. They hit you so hard, they knock a couple of chromosomes out of you. I mean, there's no hiding anymore. The fan mantras and the stupid things we say as fans to try to cover up why our team maybe played bad against this team, but they're really a contender. It again, history shows that it just doesn't work out that way. In fact, it shows quite the opposite. So I'm really enjoying this part of the season. Going to get in and say hello to a few people. I'm just going to fly through here. Let me see. Mr. Brand, BB, good to see you. Let me see. Get some comments in here that maybe I overlooked. I won't get all of them. DJ Lagway will transfer from Florida if they don't make any progress. Of course he will. Of course he will. Clemson 2012. If defense plays good, we win. Oh, of course they will. Seattle's best post alley is the bomb of coffee. Oh, I'll have to remember that. I predict LSU will eventually run off Kelly, just like Clemson fired Hatfield with 8 wins because he doesn't really fit in. And I don't blame Kelly for taking that job. I look at the administration and go, what are y'all doing? Once again, a bunch of people with tons of degrees behind their back or behind their sitting behind their head and they're snarky and everything. They don't know what they're doing in football. They're not athletic. I mean, very few of them. I mean, they can't even do a good brisk walk, and they come in and hire coaches. It doesn't make sense, and this is definitely one of them. No offense, Brian Kelly. He does not make sense for LSU. He really doesn't. West Coast football is soft, most wonderful time of the year. He has to win. 20 minutes till the wash cycle is complete. That's fun. Clemson lost to Pittsburgh, then went on to win the Natty. This is true. That team was also unbelievable and went on a winning streak and was beating everybody bad afterwards. They left no question of how good they were. I thought their championship hopes were over when Pitt hit that field goal. I mean, I remember watching that. But with that said, that team was talented from top to bottom. And it's hard to compare other teams to that one. But I agree. I agree with your sentiment. I do agree with your sentiment. But we will see. All right, folks. I don't know if I'm going to do a pregame to this Virginia game. I did just get the message. Brian Wesco will not play against Virginia. Brian Wesco, he got hurt. He got hurt against Florida State, and so he is not playing. He's not playing today. So, we do we need him to beat Virginia? No, but we do need that guy getting into a rhythm with Cade, and getting as much college experience. So if we do make the playoff and we play somebody who's incredible, guess what? We're not going to go back to those ridiculous excuses. Well, they're young. So is Ryan Williams. So is Jeremiah Smith. So is Wingo at Texas. So is A.J. Bolden that was playing defense against Clemson and doing great for Georgia. I mean, South Carolina, as much as I can't stand the chickens, they have put Nick Harbor on the shelf and made every excuse in the book of why they're not using him. And you saw him make that outrageous catch against Alabama last week. And I'm just going to say this. I say this to Clemson, and I say this to every team out there. If you beg and pray to God, or, for these players to come to your school that you normally wouldn't get, or maybe you need this type of player like Clemson was in, they've got these type of players in the past, in recent years, but they haven't got a wide receiver like this in a while. You bring them in, you better play them. I don't care who you're playing, you better play them. And because, anyway, Alabama's doing it, Georgia's doing it, Ohio State's doing it. So, anyway. Well, folks, y'all take care of yourself. Hit the comment button, drop a line in here, say hello. If you haven't subscribed, I do hope you'll subscribe. Pass this along to your friends, your neighbors, your clergymen who likes talking college football, who likes arguing about college football. And if you want to support on a monthly basis, there's a join button below the video. If you don't see it, you're probably on an iPhone. $3 or $5 per month. I made it so cheap. I've had several people tell me, hey, listen, we hit that join button. We don't even notice it coming out of the bank account. It's so little. So if you want to do that, I hope you will. You take care of yourself, and as always, go Tigers.